On the Wake-Up Radio presents The Center with your host, DC Radical One.
All right, good morning, everyone. My name is Elijah Lewis. I'm coming from you at the Springfield Town Center in Springfield, Virginia for the Fall Expo. But I want to take a minute to tell you about my book, Your Jewels Are in Your Journey, Life Lessons to Reach Your Optimal Self. This book is about giving us the tools we need to be our optimal self as we go about our journey. I tell everybody is that we're all on a journey, so on that journey we learn that life lessons are jewels, the people that we connect with to be better and inspire us along the way are jewels, and above all you find out that you yourself are a jewel. Because if you don't know who you are, it's hard to know where you're going. So if you're interested in learning more about me and my book or my motivational speaking, I speak on topics such as freedom from life's addictions, the reality of your vision, and many other topics. So if you want more information, go to my website, www.elijahlewis.org. You can get your copies, book me for motivational speaking, and above all, see where the journey takes you. And at the end of the day, may you find many jewels on your journey and continue to be the jewel that you are. Thank you.
Question is, now, you see, the way you talk are frightening quite a lot of people.
Okay.
All right, according to what they've been saying and what I know. And I want to know that, are you going to not necessarily be meek and humble and all that, but are you going to just minimize your way of approach? Because not everybody is a revolutionary, or they have not been trained to be that, and the fear is keeping people away from coming together as they should. Now, what can you do about that?
There's nothing I can do about that, because it's my firm belief that somebody has to be that. Everybody can't be mealy-mouthed. Everybody can't be compromising. Everybody can't tiptoe through the tulips. Everybody can't play politics. Everybody can't, if I haven't said it, compromise. Somebody has to be strong. I wouldn't have to be as strong as I am if I saw some others being strong like that. I could tone down, but I'm feeling such desperation to get the message out, to try to plant the seed in those who are strong enough that the walls of their heart, the walls of the uterus of their minds, metaphorically speaking, can hold that revolutionary life and not abort it.
We're going to connect the dots, right?
Connect them.
In the first part, who did they attack?
Women, childbearing
Women of childbearing age, right? The Catholic priests, they pointed out, they're like, wait a minute, how come you're not applying this to everybody? In the second clip, who did they attack?
heterosexual men.
The heterosexual men. Let's do a little math. If you sterilize the women, and remember, this was applied to 500,000 women. Now, we're going to understand something here. If you apply that to Europeans, that might mean 500,000 to 1 million people not being born. But African people have more children. So you're talking about 2 to 3 million Africans not being born. Then on the other end, the men are, what's the problem with the men? The men are what? The men are heterosexual. They're masculine. They're too manly. That manliness is terroristic. So they're going to study how to stop that. So if you attack the women with the drugs and you turn the men into homosexuals, how many people will be produced? Zero. Genocide, plain and simple, and they tell you and throw it right in your face.
We have to be careful
careful what sign we're standing next to.
That's right.
They had every kind of damn sign out there.
That's right.
We're queers for Mumia. That's a shame. We went to rallies in Philly. Every time the new Black Panther Party comes up, people got problems. Everybody could come up for Mumia and all political prisoners except the Black Panther Party.
Right.
Nobody wanted us around. Crazy cracker women standing up with their fist in the air talking about what I just mentioned, queers for Mumia. We're the lesbians for Mumia. And they are welcome at every rally. But some of our own brothers and sisters who claim to be revolutionaries will welcome the queers, will welcome the sissies, the faggots, will welcome the lesbians, the transvestites, the crossovers, the used-to-bes, the wanna-bes. They will welcome all of them. But when we come and say, Black Power, they say, oh, we don't need that. That's divisive. That divides the people. We don't need that on the platform for the political prison. God damn it, if a faggot can stand up, if a lesbian or dyke can stand up, if a queer can stand up, then God damn it, the Black Power movement must take a stand for our political prison.
We would be offended by receiving money
That's due to us.
that's due to us for work that we did that we were never paid for. That we would be offended for receiving money, for being brutally raped, for being whipped, for being worked from sun up to sundown, for having our name taken from us, our language, our spiritual systems, to be instilled with such self-hatred that Black people are bleaching their skin, to have families ripped apart and have a man to have his wife sold off and sent to another state where he never sees her again, where a woman will have her son or daughter, or maybe son and daughter, taken and shipped off to some other plantation where she never sees them again. He says you will be offended for receiving money for that. Dr. Collins said, yes, we need reparations, but white man, we also need some of your blood. I'll take the money first and the blood second, or vice versa. But what does the homosexual say? He basically said, white people won't like us if we get reparations. Right? I mean, think about it. He steps up here before Congress and talks to the chairman, who is Mr. Cohen. What type of name is Cohen?
Small hat.
He tells Mr. Small Hat, hey, man, we don't need any money, Mr. Small Hat. And Mr. Small Hat, of course, is going to say, of course you don't, because he would be one of the main people that need to pay, because the hats were behind the slave trade.
That's right.
Greetings, friends, family, allies, and enemies. I'm your host, DC Radical One, and you have entered the center. Let me know if you can hear me clearly. If not, back to the lab we go. Thank you all for coming through. Let me say, BB488, brother, you got ripped off. BB488, brother Jarake. BB488, brother Elijah. BB488 to brother Chris. Like I said, give me a 1. Okay, the brother gave me a 1. Thank you all for being here. I know the times and everything are moving around, and you're not really sure when I'm gonna be here. Yeah, it is what it is right now. It's look like 7 o'clock will be the time, and we'll have shorter programs for the time being. And I'm planning to do a special noon Saturday show this week. Other announcement is you said I need a new mic. Not yet. We'll talk about that. You know, it's on its way out, so that's why I'm not using it. It's on its way out. But so let me position myself correctly. So first announcement is, of course, I showed the Dr. Khaled lectures. That price is for this week. It's Dr. Khaled week, so that price is for this week from now until Martin Luther King birthday passes. After that, it'll be the regular price. So if you would like to purchase those two, it's 2 lectures for $40. You can send that via Cashapp or Zelle and shoot me an email, and I'll get that to you the next day. I have not. That's part of a series. I'm gonna release a full series of that, including 2 Dr. Welsing lectures and 2 COVID-19 lectures and an additional lecture on hidden revolutionaries. So yeah, actually, I guess that's a total of 7. So I'm emptying the vault this year. We are trying to raise some money. If we don't get any money, there won't be any shows because we're not getting the views that we used to getting. So it is what it is. That's reality situation. I told y'all a long time ago, the object was to get the channel to pay for itself. And right now, that's not happening. Before they straight back prior to Brother Kevin. So, no, I haven't been hoarding, brother. I just haven't, like, when people didn't buy the lost tapes, Genie's lost tapes, I figured they wouldn't buy his stuff. They wouldn't be interested in mine. So, you know, but now it's like, yeah, well, I'll dump everything. So those 2, like I said, those 2 are available now. The Dr. Welsing ones will be available next week. That'll be 4. And then the other, I forgot the Chancellor Williams. So I have to get, you know what? I don't know. Y'all might get a good deal. Cause I might have more than I thought. And because I forgot I also got the Chancellor Williams lectures and the Chancellor Williams lecture and the Chancellor Williams gravesite ceremony. So we do have a lot of stuff, but like I said, the interest that you all show in what we have is what will make me release and put the other stuff on the market. All right, so that is that. Secondly, as far as SBL Talk goes, Sister Najee will not be available to co-host probably for the next 2 months. So if y'all know a sister that could stand in for her for that time, let me know. You know, shoot me an email. Of course, the sister has to be straight, black, and proud. I'll be completely honest. Sister Najee is basically irreplaceable as a co-host. So whoever would fill in, and it needs to be a sister for that show. Whoever would fill in would be they had to be their own vibe. They can't try to be her. She's her, and they have to be them. Yeah, I don't think Erica Lachey, I don't think she would give me the time of day, brother, in any way. So, plus she's an entertainer now. She's a singer. Good for her. So, yeah, that's that. So I got to be quick because I only have another hour and 15 minutes. So I was supposed to do this show a long time ago, obviously. And there's so much stuff that's been going on, not only with this situation, but with life in general. And so that's why I haven't been able to get to it. But we know, everyone knows, we know that Mr. Trump kidnapped Mr. Maduro. And this is really a precursor to a lot of things, right? So I'm going to start with this first article here from The Hill, which says, if I can take this off, it says that the U.S. isn't attacking Venezuela because of drugs, it's because of minerals, right? It says a few months ago, most Americans were not thinking about Venezuela at all. Then something alarming happened. Pete Hegseth, a former Fox News host and current Secretary of Defense, publicly suggested that a small Venezuelan boat in the Caribbean should be destroyed. Soon after, reports surfaced that U.S. forces had blown apart several boats near Venezuelan waters. The Trump administration made loud claims of narco-terrorism, but no evidence of seized drugs was ever shown to the public. Despite the lack of proof, the rhetoric stuck. It grew louder, and so did the military presence. The United States has now positioned its largest aircraft carrier near Venezuela's coast, along with aircraft, troops, and restricted airspace. That is not what a focused, limited counter-drug mission looks like, especially when federal data suggests Venezuela is not a significant source of narcotics entering the United States. Something else is driving the escalation. It is minerals, not drugs. Those who doubt the centrality of minerals to U.S. strategy should consider the recent agreement between Washington and Kiev, which granted U.S. entities preferential access to Ukraine's mineral resources at partial payment for wartime assistance. Now, I want to stop right here. Here's the thing that we have to remember. The United States government does not exist, right? So when they say U.S. entities, I would love to see who's on the board of directors, who are the shareholders, and who's in control of those companies. I suspect that I know, but I have not done the research on that. But I just wanted to point that out. Now, back to the article. It says, whatever one thinks about the arrangement, one thing is clear. Minerals are emerging as geopolitical currency. And Venezuela has the kind of mineral wealth, 1.36 trillion, according to Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro, that can shape the next century. The U.S. has a history of intervening in resource-rich nations behind noble-sounding pretexts. From the oil fields of Iran to the copper mines of Chile, the agricultural lands of Guatemala, the oil reserves of Iraq and Libya, and the mineral wealth of the Congo and Indonesia. Only one I remember was Indonesia. Anyway, U.S. policy has time and again combined strategic interests with economic ambition, often disguised as a fight against communism, terrorism, or humanitarian crises. Access to highly valued resources was always an important motive. Given its oil reserves and increasingly essential mineral deposits, Venezuela falls squarely within this historical pattern. Abundant deposits of bauxite, coltan, gold, and rare earth minerals, which are now central to national security and global supply chains, are located in Venezuela, mainly in the southern part of the country. It is there that authority is weakest and the armed groups are strongest. Illegal mines are strewn across the Amazon and Orinoco basins, and the impact has been devastating. The forest has been turned into open pits. Toxic mercury used to extract gold has contaminated the river and killed the fish. The guerrilla groups are brutal in the operation of the mines. Children are put to work inside the mines alongside the men. Women and girls are bought and sold for gold. Forced labor is prevalent. Indigenous communities are being forced out of their ancestral lands to make room for more mines. There's zero oversight. The current exploitation of the people and the land is tragic. I say this not just as a researcher studying global technology and labor, but also as someone who studied geology. Increased demand for Venezuelan minerals will only further the destruction and loss of life. Some justify this show of force by citing Maduro's long list of offenses. Maduro's the perfect villain. His claim to the presidency followed a deeply contested election, and more than 10 Latin American countries refused to recognize his rule. Evidence suggests the opposition won by a large margin. Now, I'm going to stop right there. If they had an election and they used, before they the brother Crow, if they had an election and they used the voting machines that the U.S. uses, which come from Israel, then that's why they won by a large margin. That's all I'm saying. I did a lecture years ago on elections and voting machines. And now, you can't count on none of that stuff. All them things are completely, totally rigged. Plain and simple. Now, anyway, as you get back to this article, we don't have much time. Maduro's government is repressive, corrupt, and ruinous to its own economy. So is America's. I mean, if we're being honest, so is America's. Condemning Maduro does not justify deploying aircraft carriers. If the U.S. were really interested in restoring democracy to Venezuela, its strategy would include negotiations and humanitarian aid, amongst other things. Before this country drifts any further towards conflict, of course, this article is before the attack, the administration owes the public clarity. If the goal was democracy, stated and work towards it through diplomacy. Should the target be narcotics, present proof, not buzzwords. If the objective is minerals, make that clear and negotiate agreements. Allow the public to debate whether any of these things are justification enough to escalate the military involvement. Venezuelans deserve more than to become collateral in a global resource race. Americans deserve more than vague speak and shifting narratives. The world deserves the U.S. willing to speak plainly about its intentions before it commits to a conflict whose cost will remain long after the headlines fade. If we don't demand the answers now, we may soon find ourselves locked into a fight we did not choose for reasons the Trump administration never told us about, which is, of course, the state of America. So, let me just say this. Here's what people aren't understanding. The New World Order, replaced the N with a J, is moving toward a technocracy where these minerals will be needed to produce not a labor force, but a new military force that the elite regimes will use basically to keep the remaining people in line, right? So think of something similar to, for those of you all who are familiar with comic books, think of something to like what happens in X-Men in the timeline where the mutants are destroyed and the Sentinels are ruling. Think of something like that, except not gigantic robots. I don't think they're working on that, but they have humanoid robots that they're working on. And make no mistake, they will be used not only as a military force, but a worldwide governing police force, right? In order to mass produce something like that to keep people in line, you need these rare earth minerals. I know no one else has said that, right? But think about it. These are in Venezuela. Remember, they keep talking about we're racing China for them. And now Trump is talking about going to Greenland. If you look at some of the people who are invested in this stuff, Peter Thiel, Bill Gates, you know what I'm saying, the who's who. What's the open AI guy? I can't think of the guy's name, but y'all know who I'm talking about. But you got ripped off. Help me out if he's still in here. Not Friedman. I can picture him, but I can't think of his name. But anyway, y'all get the point. Those people are invested in Greenland. That's why the Greenland move is being made. And I'm not gonna lie, it caught me off guard a little bit that Germany and France are opposing Trump, and as far as that goes, right? You still have the situation in Haiti with the Syrian, Libyan, Jewish people. Sam Altman, yeah, thank you, Sam Altman. So, and then of course the whole Cuba thing. So what we're seeing now, and of course the Iran war. So really, this show's really got part 1 of 2. I think I'm gonna have to do part 2 Saturday. I'll have more time to get deeper into it. But all of that is connected. Basically, what we're saying is the Zionists are moving everything in place for their global order. So that's why you see so many things moving at the same time. That's why you see them, well, not them directly, but you're seeing the funding for the attack on Mr. Traore that just happened, right? I'm gonna get into that Saturday. They just thwarted an attack on Mr. Traore a few days ago, and they paid somebody like $100,000, right? So all of these things all these pieces are being put in place, and realistically, the only opposition that I see right now are Russia and basically the AES. That's the only opposition I see. I don't know what role China is playing. I don't know why. I mean, I do know why Russia is, because Russia's still kind of occupied with the Ukraine thing. But I don't know why China, considering how much they depend on that Venezuelan oil, why they didn't make a move. Because to me, the strategic move for China would have been, as soon as that move was made, I would have been like, okay, straight to Taiwan. Just roll over Taiwan and just claim that. Because now, if you do that, you take the whole semiconductor market and claim that, right? And then now it's like, okay, you want oil? I mean, you control our oil, we control your semiconductors. Now what? How are we gonna carry it, right? So, but they didn't make that move. So I'm not sure what China's move. I'm not sure what they're doing. I don't speak Mandarin, so anything that I learn about what China is doing politically is going to come from Chinese people who speak English and who are primarily here, which don't make them necessarily the greatest resource. You know, it is what it is. My apologies. But those are the things that are being moved into place. So what I wanted to do is play a couple of videos. I wanted to play this video because this shows, I think this is the one that shows that the CIA was involved. And I just wanted to show the contradictions because, of course, CIA, you know, you're talking about, oh, drugs, blah, 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 which, of course, they abandoned that story. But the CIA being involved, the number one drug runners, you know what I'm saying, into America for the last 40 years. But I think this video deals with Maduro capturing some CIA operatives before he was eventually taken out. So I'm going to run that video. Oops. I'm going to run that video real quick.
I was on my way here, and they informed me about 3 people they captured at another location with CIA manuals, and they have no shame. So they arrive and delete things from their phones because they think that by deleting their phone, everything disappears. But no, those phones talk, they talk. I'm going to send it to the cloud. They say, well, they're in the clouds when they think that. And what we found is pure gold. CIA connected to those sectors that hate Venezuela.
Y lo que hemos encontrado es oro puro, CIA, vinculado a sectores de esos que odian a Venezuela. Nosotros vivimos en paz en este
We live in peace in this country. Just leave us alone. It's undoubtedly aggression. These military exercises are conducting jointly with Trinidad are provocations. Denounced in this statement, you're referring to speaking to a journalist.
Now, that was from October, right? So that just goes to show, or a reminder, not to show how far back it goes. Now, I got another clip I want to show y'all that deals with the mineral situation.
So we can understand that I'm not making that up.
Country sitting on a fortune so vast it could reshape global markets and lift its people from hardship. What if I told you this nation was Venezuela, and this immense wealth has almost nothing to do with the oil that has defined its modern history? It is a startling thought, one that challenges everything we think we know about this troubled South American nation. Beyond the headlines of political turmoil and economic collapse lies a geological and ecological reality that is almost entirely overlooked. This is not a story about black gold, but about the glittering, powerful, and essential resources that lie dormant beneath the soil, within the forests, and deep in the surrounding seas. The world has long associated Venezuela with its colossal oil reserves, the largest on the planet. This single resource has been both a blessing and a curse, fueling decades of prosperity before contributing to a spectacular downfall. Yet, this singular focus has created a massive blind spot. The very same geological forces that created the oil also bless the land with a breathtaking diversity of other minerals. The country's vast, underexplored territories hold the potential for a second, more diversified resource boom. We are talking about the building blocks of the 21st century economy: smartphones, electric cars, green energy, and advanced manufacturing. Let us begin with the minerals that power our modern digital lives: rare earth elements. These 17 metallic elements, neodymium, dysprosium. They are not necessarily rare in the Earth's crust, but rarely found in concentrations high enough to make mining economical. They are absolutely essential for high-strength magnets, wind turbines, electric vehicle motors, phones, laptops. Venezuela's Guiana Shield, a massive ancient geological formation in the south. Rocks there are prime candidates for hosting significant rare earth deposits. If confirmed, Venezuela could rival China. China currently dominates over 80% of the global supply. That would fundamentally alter the geopolitics of technology. The primary reason this potential remains untapped: immense logistical challenges and political instability. Exploring for rare earths requires sophisticated geological mapping, costly laboratory analysis, and substantial long-term investment, all of which have been scarce. The most promising areas are remote and lack roads and power, a silent missed opportunity for Venezuela and strained global supply chains. Gold has a much longer and more tangible history in Venezuela. For centuries, its rivers and lands have been a source of the precious metal, attracting prospectors and fueling legends. Despite this history, the country's full potential is far from realized. While small-scale and often illegal mining is rampant in the south, vast tracts remain geologically unmapped with modern techniques. Experts believe deep within remote river basins and under dense forest cover, undiscovered large-scale gold lodes are waiting to be found. If properly surveyed and developed, these could place Venezuela among the top gold producers, generating billions in revenue. The main barrier is a severe lack of rule of law and security. Illegal mining, often run by armed groups, creates a dangerous, chaotic environment that deters legitimate, large-scale investment. Beyond gold, Venezuela holds immense deposits of industrial minerals like iron ore. One of the planet's largest high-grade iron deposits sits in the Amatica Forest Reserve. This resource can supply steel mills for generations, providing material for construction and manufacturing, and infrastructure worldwide. Significant bauxite and nickel are also known. Venezuela's untapped wealth isn't just what's dug from the ground. It includes living, breathing ecosystems. One of the most biodiverse countries on Earth: Amazon rainforest, sprawling wetlands, cloud forests. These forests act as enormous carbon sinks, absorbing CO2 and stabilizing climate. Carbon finance and payments for ecosystem services can pay to protect forests. This green gold can support communities and preserve biodiversity. But it needs clear land rights, protected territories, and reliable monitoring. Today, illegal extraction, agricultural expansion, and unclear tenure make it risky. Without governance and enforcement, monetizing conservation remains out of reach. Now, the deep sea, a largely unexplored frontier. Venezuela's vast, exclusive economic zone spans the Caribbean and the Atlantic. Seafloor nodules and crusts may hold copper, cobalt, nickel, and manganese. The sheer diversity and scale of Venezuela's untapped resources are staggering. Rare earths, lithium, gold, iron, forest carbon, deep-sea minerals. This portfolio could transform supply chains and build a diversified, resilient economy. Even a fraction, developed responsibly, could rebuild infrastructure, fund services, and create prosperity. But the path is fraught with instability, decaying infrastructure, and security risks. Restoring rule of law, predictable.
All right, so we get the point. There are massive amounts of wealth and a varied supply of numerous resources, minerals. I mean, virtually everything you can think of. Gold. I mean, rare earth, copper, manganese. I mean, everything. Like stuff you don't even know is on a periodic table, right? So, like I said, I always knew about the oil. I knew about the timber. I knew there was some rare stuff in the forest areas, but I had no clue until I started watching a few videos about this other stuff. And when I saw that, I was like, okay. Then that's when the wheels got to turn, and then I realized what's going on, because everything is moving at the same time. Here's the reality of the situation. I don't know if people really understand how late in the game it is. We talk about, we've been talking about Agenda 2030 and the Great Reset probably for 4 years now? It seems to me that they're moving up the clock. And it seems like they're ahead of schedule and they're moving up 2028. And if people don't get their heads together, man, it's a wrap for everybody. I mean, I'm just keeping it at 100, man. Because with the hats in full control of the U.S. military, and with them able to destabilize whole regions, with them able to basically put Mossad in charge of Syria, Mossad right now is destabilizing Iran, and so the Iranians are cracking down. But that's a Mossad operation, and I'll find the article for Saturday, which basically the U.S. and Mossad admit that they're doing that. And then we have whatever the takeover of Venezuela is going to look like. It looks like some people made some deals behind Maduro's back, and that's why they were able to come in as quickly as they did, as well as another reason, which I'm actually get to in the next article here. I close this one out and get to, because this is something I didn't see people talking about. They're using their new technology, right? So let's get to this real quick. U.S. used powerful mystery weapon that brought Venezuelan soldiers to their knees during Maduro raid, witness account. This is from almost a week ago. Says the U.S. used a powerful mystery weapon that brought Venezuelan soldiers to their knees, bleeding through the nose and vomiting blood during the raid to capture quote-unquote dictator Nicolas Maduro, according to a witness account posted Saturday on X by the White House press secretary. In a jaw-dropping interview, the guard described how American forces wiped out hundreds of fighters without losing a single soldier, using technology unlike anything he has ever seen or heard. We were on guard, but suddenly all of our radar systems shut down without any explanation, the guard said. The next thing we saw were drones, a lot of drones flying over our positions. We didn't know how to react. And let me just say this, the only people who are more further advanced in drone warfare are basically Ukraine, Iran, and Russia. Ukraine and Russia are further ahead because they've been testing the technology on each other and one-upping each other, right? So for anybody that wants to understand like what the sonic weapons are, because I don't have a video loaded up for sonic weapons. Just remind me for Saturday. Go watch the movie Incredible Hulk. The movie's like 10 years old. That's how you know the technology is there, because the movie's old now, right? In the Incredible Hulk movie, the Hulk, I think he went to see Betty, And then, General Ross is chasing them. He turns into the Hulk. He starts hulking out and doing this thing. And then they use gigantic sound cannons on him. And then, of course, the Hulk, being the Hulk, eventually destroys him. Point being, yes, you saw it in the movie. Yes, it is real. You know what I'm saying? So predictive programming, like we have this technology, we're going to show it to you in a fantastical way, and then we're going to actually use it later on. So, yeah, that's what they use according to people who were there, right? Now, he said moments later, a handful of helicopters appeared, barely 8 by his count, deploying what he estimated were 20 U.S. troops into the area. But those few men, he said, came armed with something more powerful than guns. They were technologically very advanced. They didn't look like anything we fought against before. What ensued, he said, was not a battle, but a slaughter. We were hundreds, but we had no chance. They were shooting with precision and speed. It felt like each soldier was firing 300 rounds per minute. Then came the weapon that still haunts him. At one point, they launched something. I don't know how to describe it. It was like a very intense sound wave. Suddenly, I felt my head was exploding from the inside. The effects were immediate and horrific. We all started bleeding from the nose. Some were vomiting blood. We fell to the ground, unable to move. We couldn't even stand up after that sonic weapon or whatever it was. The White House did not immediately respond to a question regarding whether Carolyn Levitt's sharing of the post-captured "Stop what you're doing and read this" indicated the administration was verifying the veracity of the eyewitness account. An estimated 100 Venezuelan security forces were killed in the January 3rd attack, according to the country's interior ministry. It is unclear if any of those deaths were caused by the mystery weapon. The outmatched defenders were helpless against a small U.S. unit, wiped them out, the guard said. Those 20 men without a single casualty killed hundreds of us, he claimed. We had no way to compete with their technology, with their weapons. I swear I've never seen anything like it. The military has had direct energy weapons, which neutralize targets using focused energy such as microwave or laser beams for years, but this could be the first time it's been used in combat by the U.S., an ex-intelligence officer told the Post. China reportedly used a microwave weapon in 2020 against Indian soldiers during a border dispute in Ladakh. The source noted that these weapons have capability to produce at least some of the symptoms, including bleeding, inability to move or function, pain, and burning. I can't say all of those symptoms, but yes, some. And we've had versions of these for decades. After the raid, said the Maduro loyalists, the message couldn't be more clear. Don't tangle with Uncle Sam. I'm sending a warning to anyone who thinks they can fight the United States, he said. They have no idea what they're capable of. After what I saw, I never want to be on the other side of that again. They're not to be messed with. The guard said the raid had already sent shockwaves across Latin America, especially after President Trump warned Mexico that Mexico is now on the list. Everyone is already talking about this. No one wants to go through what we went through. What happened here is going to change a lot of things, not just in Venezuela, but throughout the region. So basically, my man is saying, I don't want no smoke. We couldn't do nothing with them. I don't even know what the hell they had. And I can't be like, and I suggest you don't want no smoke either. So I'm going to run this clip that we have where they basically, a politician, U.S. politician, basically confirms what took place.
There is Darrell Issa, and the good congressman joins me now. What do you think are our military options in Iran, Congressman?
Well, the military options are somewhat similar, Stuart, to what we've already seen. But there are other options. As you know, before going in to get Maduro, they started taking ships off the high sea. The president has that capability to literally enforce sanctions by removing ships carrying Iranian oil. In the appropriations just underway right now, in the reorganization of the Voice of America, dramatic changes, getting rid of wasteful programs, but plussing up Iran, Cuba, and China interdiction in the way of communication. And most importantly, the president has the respect of the world. So when he says that he needs to have a coordinated effort against Iran, This time he'll get it.
A report shared by White House Press Secretary Karen Leavitt says U.S. forces used a sonic weapon in the Maduro raid. Eyewitnesses suggested that when the weapon was used, people fell to the ground with blood coming out of their nose. What do you know about sonic technology?
Well, there's some thank you for that question. There's some sonic technology that's manufactured right in San Diego, and it's used by the Coast Guard and so on. And it can be used anywhere from long-range talking to painful to even the symptoms you said. And it's one of the many non-lethal tools the United States had. In this case, it saved a great many lives by disabling rather than simply shooting or blowing up many of the guards. So these non-lethal, non-kinetic weapons are part of the growing arsenal that President Trump is leading to make sure that our troops have.
It's extraordinary stuff. I got one more for you. President Trump says he's committed to taking over Greenland. He says China and Russia will take it over if we don't. Congressman, are Russia and China actually moving on Greenland already?
Well, the Russians, that's a great question. The Russians have already dominated the Northwest Passage with their icebreakers and their activities up there. And so, you know, when you look at it, we only have a small part, the Alaska coast, that's up on that side. But Canada and Greenland both need to be able to protect that area. Greenland, backed by Denmark, is unable to do so. And so just as we all look back on the Louisiana Purchase and realize that without it, America would be nothing close to what it is today, it may well be that the president is seeing what others will later see, that that Greenland needs to be under the protection, control, and potential development by the United States, and that a purchase could be in the best interest both of Denmark, who cannot deal with that threat from Russia, and the United States and Canada, who are prepared on behalf of NATO and on behalf of our people to protect the entire Northwest Passage.
So we see the justifications being made for the, I guess, annexation. I don't know if I actually said that word correct, but y'all know what I'm trying to say, of Greenland. I saw an article, but I couldn't find it, where I believe it's France and Germany basically were like, nah, we don't know about this one, buddy. And so there may be some conflict there between the United States and Europe. Now, here's the reality of the situation with that. Trump doesn't care, and he has no respect for NATO. So if they're going to do something about it, they're going to have to do something about it, because Trump is not going to pay France any attention, nor Germany, right? So whatever protest or problem that they have with that situation, they're gonna have to do something about it. Like, they're gonna have to show him, right? So that will be interesting. I'll be looking at that, and I'll be looking up more articles to see what the if that's just something they'll negotiate, or the U.S. would just take it and then it puts NATO at odds with each other, or So that is something that's interesting that I will have to look into, because it caught me off guard. I saw it today earlier. I just saw it earlier today, and I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of like, I didn't see that part coming. So I'm gonna read this article real quick. Just talks about some of the history of the U.S. just bum rushing people and gangstering them, and then we're gonna run the Dr. Khaled Day lecture commercial again for those who weren't here, because we seem to have some more people coming in. So this article says, hold up. Went to scratch my eye and hit the wrong button. Let's try again. What does the article say? The article says, when the United States launched a large-scale strike by military forces in Venezuela on Saturday, capturing Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro and his wife, who they beat all up and whatnot, look like somebody punched her in the face and all types of stuff, which, nobody really talked about. It followed a long history of U.S. military interventions in Latin America. President Trump said the U.S. would run the country of Venezuela until such time as we can do a safe, proper, and judicious transition. That just leaves it completely open-ended. Now it says Maduro, meanwhile, is being brought to the U.S. to face criminal charges related to alleged narco-terrorism. Even they say alleged. Here are the major U.S. interventions in Latin America since the Cold Wars. So this is just post-World War II. 1954, Guatemala. On June 27, 1954, Colonel Jacobo Arbenz Guzman, then president of Guatemala, was driven from power by mercenaries trained and financed by Washington after a land reform that threatened the interests of the powerful U.S. company United Fruit Corporation, later known as Chiquita brand. So the banana people, Chiquita banana. In 2003, the U.S. officially acknowledged the U.S. Central Intelligence Agency's role in this coup in the name of quote unquote fighting terrorism. So they lied and said they were fighting terrorism when in reality they were securing bananas. Alrighty. 1961, Cuba. From April 15th to the 19th of 1961, about 1,400 Cuban exiles were trained by the CIA, and they launched the Bay of Pigs invasion to liberate Cuba. The plan was to use exiles to overthrow Fidel Castro's communist government. We know that didn't work. At the time, there was strong fear of the Soviet Union, but the mission went horribly wrong. It became a black eye for both administrations of President Dwight D. Eisenhower and John F. Kennedy. The fighting left more than 100 people dead on each side. After the Bay of Pigs, the CIA tried to hatch more plots to overthrow Castro that included poisoning his cigar, among other implausible ideas. Other plans were in place under a Kennedy administration plan called Operation Mongoose. No other attack of that magnitude was ever launched against Castro after the 1961 Bay of Pigs fiasco. 1965, Dominican Republic. In 1965, citing a communist threat in the Dominican Republic, the U.S. sent Marines and paratroopers to Santo Domingo to crush an uprising in support of Juan Bosch, a leftist president ousted by generals in 1963. 1970s, support for dictatorships. Washington backed several military dictatorships in Latin America during the 1970s, seeing them as a bulwark against left-wing armed movements in a world divided by Cold War rivalries. It actively assisted Chilean dictator Augusto Pinochet during the September 11, 1973 coup against leftist President Salvador Allende. U.S. Secretary of State Henry Kissinger supported the Argentine junta in 1976, encouraging it to quickly end this dirty war, according to U.S. documents declassified in 2003. At least 10,000 Argentine dissidents disappeared during that time, which means they were slaughtered. In the 70s and 80s, Argentina, Chile, Uruguay, Paraguay, Bolivia, and Brazil joined forces to eliminate left-wing opponents under Operation Condor with tacit U.S. support. 1979, Nicaragua. In 1979, the Sandinista rebellion overthrew dictator Anastasio Somoza in Nicaragua. U.S. President Ronald Reagan, concerned about Managua's alignment with Cuba and the Soviet Union, secretly authorized the CIA to provide $20 million in aid to the counter-revolutionaries, the Contras, partly funded by the illegal sales of arms to Iran. Not noted here, also funded by illegal drug sales in the Black community to Freeway Ricky Ross by Danilo Blandón, who was a Nicaraguan national and drug dealer and was the plug for Freeway Ricky Ross, who would go on to supply cocaine to the West Coast gangs who spread it across the West Coast and Middle America. with other drugs coming in through Mena, Arkansas, headed down into and coming up from Miami and then spreading across the country there, and then also coming into New York. So the CIA helped pay for the situation in Nicaragua and some of these other places like El Salvador, using money from Americans who they got addicted to drugs, be it crack cocaine, spawning the crack epidemic that eventually led into the mass incarceration situation. Now, 1980, El Salvador. President Reagan also sent military advisors to El Salvador to crush the rebellion of the Farabundo Marta Nacional Liberation Front, or FMLN, in a civil war that lasted 12 years and resulted in 72,000 deaths. That's why there are a lot of Salvadorans in Washington, D.C., because they came during this time. Because when you side with the U.S., what happens? If you lose, you end up living in the U.S. That's how that works. Now, 1983, Grenada. On October 25th, 1983, U.S. Marines and Rangers intervened on the island of Grenada after Prime Minister Maurice Bishop, a black man who was for black people, was assassinated by a far-left junta. And as Cubans were expanding the airport, presumably to accommodate military aircraft. At the request of the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States, Reagan launched Operation Urgent Fury with the stated goal of protecting U.S. citizens, which was, of course, a lie. The operation, widely deployed by the United Nations General Assembly, ended on November 3rd with more than 100 dead. 1989, Panama. Maduro's capture came 36 years to the day after U.S. forces arrested former Panamanian dictator Manuel Noriega. Noriega rose to prominence in Panama's military government before taking control in 1985. He spent years on the CIA's payroll, also was a drug dealer for the CIA, assisting U.S. interests in Latin America before falling out of favor with Washington in the late 1980s. Then President George H.W. Bush ordered the U.S. military. George H.W. Bush, who was also in charge of the CIA, so he knew the man very well, ordered military to invade Panama in late 89, sending 24,000 troops to topple Noriega's government. The operation left 23 U.S. soldiers dead and hundreds more injured. Operation quote-unquote Just Cause officially left 500 dead in total. NGOs have listed the toll in the thousands. Noriega hid out in the Vatican embassy before surrendering to U.S. forces on January 3rd, 1990. He was taken to the U.S. to face drug trafficking charges. His fall led to the end of the Panama's military dictatorship. He spent more than 20 years in prison in the United States, then was extradited to France. I don't understand why. Then Panama. He died in 2017. So that is the history of the United States meddling in Central and South America. See, brother, you got ripped off. Say, I was talking to someone who dated a chick back in the 90s whose father's retired from LAPD Rampart Division at 26 years old with multiple properties and cars. Right. The Rampart situation in Los Angeles is one of the most ridiculously corrupt situations in U.S. Law enforcement history. Right up there with the Serpico case, and I actually can't think of nothing else. You know what I'm saying? Now that I think about it, I think those are the top two that I know of. I know there's one other corruption case, but I just can't think of what it is now. But yeah, the Ramparts thing was crazy. And in fact, if I'm not mistaken, and don't hold me to it, but I believe people connected with that were involved in the whole Tupac and Biggie situation. And that's why the Tupac and Biggie murders weren't really solved, because there was some LAPD connection with David Mack, allegedly. And I forgot Amir Muhammad that he hired to assassinate Biggie, right? So anyway, all of that, we say all of that to say that, or to show that this is not new or even rare for the United States to intervene in the affairs of nations in the Western Hemisphere in line with the Monroe Doctrine, which pretty much states that the United States is basically the ruler of this part of the earth. That's basically what it says. If we strip away all the fancy language, and they take that seriously, and now we see why, or see how, and see how seriously they take it. So with that, what I'm going to do, will take me a quick break. I'm going to play the Collect Day advertisement, and then we will close. Well, we got about another half an hour after that, and then we'll close up. So.
Question is, now, you see, the way you talk are frightening quite a lot of people.
Okay.
All right, according to what they've been saying and what I know. And I want to know that, are you going to not necessarily be meek and humble and all that, but are you going to just minimize your way of approach? Because not everybody's a revolutionary, or they have not been trained to be that, and the fear is keeping people away from coming together as they should. Now, what can you do about that?
There's nothing I can do about that, because it's my firm belief that somebody has to be that. Everybody can't be mealy-mouthed. Everybody can't be compromising. Everybody can't tiptoe through the tulips. Everybody can't play politics. Everybody can't, if I haven't said it, compromise. Somebody has to be strong. I wouldn't have to be as strong as I am if I saw some others being strong like that. I could tone down, but I'm feeling such desperation to get the message out, to try to plant the seed in those who are strong enough that the walls of their heart, the walls of the uterus of their minds, metaphorically speaking, can hold that revolutionary life and not abort it.
We're going to connect the dots, right?
Connect them.
In the first part, who did they attack?
Women, childbearing.
Women of childbearing age, right? The Catholic priests, they pointed out, they're like, wait a minute, how come you're not applying this to everybody? In the second clip, who did they attack?
Heterosexual men.
The heterosexual men. Let's do a little math. If you sterilize the women, and remember, this was applied to 500,000 women. Now, we're going to understand something here. If you apply that to Europeans, that might mean 500,000 to 1 million people not being born. But African people have more children. So you're talking about 2 to 3 million Africans not being born. Then on the other end, the men are, what's the problem with the men? The men are what? The men are heterosexual. They're masculine. They're too manly. That manliness is terroristic. So they're going to study how to stop that. So if you attack the women with the drugs and you turn the men into homosexuals, how many people will be produced? Zero. Genocide, plain and simple, and they tell you and throw it right in your face.
Out there, we have to be careful what sign we're standing next to. That's right. They had every kind of damn sign out there. That's right. We're queers for Mumia. That's a shame. We went to rallies in Philly. Every time the new Black Panther Party comes up, people got problems. Everybody could come up for Mumia and all political prisoners except the Black Panther Party. Right. Nobody wanted us around. Crazy cracker women standing up with their fist in the air talking about what I just mentioned, queers for Mumia. We're the lesbians for Mumia. And they are welcome at every rally. But some of our own brothers and sisters who claim to be revolutionaries will welcome the queers, will welcome the sissies, the faggots, will welcome the lesbians, the transvestites, the crossovers, the used-to-bes, the wanna-bes. They will welcome all of them. But when we come and say, black power, they say, oh, we don't need that. That's divisive. That divides the people. We don't need that on the platform for the political prison. God damn it, if a faggot can stand up, if a lesbian or dyke can stand up, if a queer can stand up, then God damn it, the black power movement must take a stand for our political prisoners.
We would be offended by receiving money
That's due to us.
that's due to us for work that we did that we were never paid for. That we would be offended for receiving money for being brutally raped, for being whipped, for being worked from sun up to sundown, for having our name taken from us, our language, our spiritual systems, to be instilled with such self-hatred that black people are bleaching their skin, to have families ripped apart and have a man to have his wife sold off and sent to another state where he never sees her again, where a woman will have her son or daughter, or maybe son and daughter, taken and shipped off to some other plantation where she never sees them again. He says you will be offended for receiving money for that. Dr. Collins said, yes, we need reparations, but white man, we also need some of your blood. I'll take the money first and the blood second, or vice versa. But what does the homosexual say? He basically said, white people won't like us if we get reparations. Right? I mean, think about it. He steps up here before Congress and talks to the chairman, who is Mr. Cohen. What type of name is Cohen?
Small hat.
He tells Mr. Small Hat, hey, man, we don't need any money, Mr. Small Hat. And Mr. Small Hat, of course, is going to say, of course you don't, because he would be one of the main people that need to pay, because the hats were behind the slave trade.
That's right.
All right. And Brother Crow hit us with a super chat while we were away. Brother Crow's super chat. He said, and appreciate Brother Crow for $5 super chat. He says, Levin, the Small Hat, the commentator on Fox News, said that Trump is our first Jewish American president. Now, I'm gonna be honest. I don't know if he's saying that because Trump is secretly, culturally, genetically Jewish, or if he's saying that because he's 100% in line with the Zionist platform. I don't know, but that's not the first time I've heard that. So, I mean, yes, at some point, people are gonna have to accept the reality that that's how they see him, or at least that's what they want him to believe. And he's moving accordingly, and he's moving and doing things for, not for the United States, but for Israel. So I'm going to check this article out in Politico. It says Denmark and allies boost Greenland military footprint as Trump ramps up pressure. Now it says Denmark and allied countries said Wednesday they will increase their military presence in Greenland as part of expanded exercises amid intensifying pressure from Washington over the Arctic island sovereignty. Security in the Arctic is of crucial importance to the kingdom and our Arctic allies, and it is therefore important that we, in close cooperation, with allies, I'm reading what ain't even there, further strengthen our ability to operate in the region, said Danish Defense Minister Troels Lund Poulsen. They always had a weird language to me, but anyway, the Danish Defense Forces, together with several Arctic and European allies, will explore in the coming weeks how an increased presence and exercise activity in the Arctic can be implemented. In a statement, Denmark's defense ministry said additional Danish aircraft, naval assets, and troops will be deployed in and around Greenland starting immediately as part of expanded training and exercise activity. The effort will include receiving allied forces, operating fighter jets, and carrying out maritime security tasks, the ministry said. Swedish Prime Minister Ulf Kristersson said on X that Swedish officers are arriving in Greenland as part of the multinational allied group to help prepare upcoming phases of Denmark's Operation Arctic Endurance exercise, following a request from Copenhagen. A European diplomat said that troops from the Netherlands, Canada, and Germany were also taking part. The diplomat and another official with firsthand knowledge said France was also involved. As of this moment, the Canadian Armed Forces are not initiating any new operations in Greenland, says Maya Offerhat, press secretary in the office of Canada's Minister of National Defense. Germany's defense ministry said it will deploy a reconnaissance team of 13 soldiers to Greenland as of Thursday for exercises running to Saturday. The aim is to explore the framework conditions for possible military contributions to support Denmark and ensuring security in the region. Defense ministers in other countries did not immediately respond to requests for comment. So far, the deployment remains intergovernmental and has not been formally approved by NATO, according to two people familiar with the matter. Let me stop right there. Not just because I'm suddenly having a coughing attack, but think about what that means. Suddenly, as soon as Mr. Trump starts ramping up his rhetoric about Greenland, and soon as we see that Mr. Gates and Peter Thiel and those the tech bro psychos, as I like to call them. Soon as that starts happening, all of a sudden Denmark is calling its European brethren, but leaving out NATO. Why are they leaving out NATO? Because the U.S. is part of NATO. So suddenly, and I'm surprising to me, I'm gonna be completely honest, we have apparently an internal conflict within NATO based upon Trump's move, which I think is he's making this move for the hats. I'm gonna have to go and do some more research and then Saturday come on here and see what their interest is, other than the rare earth minerals, and maybe that is the interest. That may be it all the way. And apparently, these European countries are not too keen on just giving away these resources like that. So I'm gonna have to start paying attention to see what's really going on and how it's gonna play out, because what's happening is not what I expected at all. Like, I didn't expect. I was paying attention, but I wasn't, because it was Europe and because of what's going on and in Africa. And so now I have to pay attention. Also, let me say another thing. I saw Trump basically saying he's stopping visas from basically almost all black countries, right? And he's talking about taking away naturalization, right? So deportation, taking away naturalization of black people who aren't what some people will call FBA or Black American or whatever the case may be. I don't think people have noticed the pattern. Now, by the fact that this FBA thing has gotten big, at least online, Black America is sanctioning this move. Here's the issue, right? Let's say that J.D. Vance wins the presidency and he ramps up this policy. What's left then is we take it back to how it was in the 60s and 70s, where you have largely just white people, black people, and a small segment of Hispanics, and the small hats able to play both sides, which leaves us outnumbered and outgunned in the midst of our enemies. Did we see the outcome here? That sets us up to be ripe for the slaughter, because as the country collapses, there's no one else to blame because everybody else will have been deported. So whose fault will it be? It won't be the small hats' fault, because the small hats will be telling Europeans they're white. You see how this works? See, when you go outside of your nature and try to be other than yourself, you only set yourself up to be exterminated. And so by pushing this FBA agenda and aligning ourselves with America, while America is aligning itself with pro-whiteness while being manipulated by the hats, it just sets us up to be wiped out, because they're going to collapse the economy. And then somebody's going to be blamed when people can't eat. And the people that's going to be blamed is the other. But if all the other is pushed out and only black people remain, then what is the outcome? So I just wanted to put that on the table. I saw that earlier today. And it's just like, oh, this is, yeah, not so good, right? So eventually in a show, I will talk about that. So let me say this too, by the way. I put out the part of the Jake Shields video with Brother Genie. I don't know if it's something YouTube is doing, but we didn't get a lot of views on that. I'm not sure what's going on, why we can't get 100 views on a video with Brother Genie with enhanced information in it. I'm going to put another one out this week. I'm going to just say this. If we can't get the views and we can't get the support and we can't get people to purchase the products, 2026 will be the last year of the channel. So I'm just being frank, upfront, and completely honest with you. There's no reason for us to have almost 1,500 people and we can't get 20, 25 people to a live stream, and we can't get 100 people to watch a video. Now, maybe it's YouTube. Maybe they're shadow banning the channel. I had been shadow banned on Instagram for years, so I know what that looks like. But I'm not really sure what's going on. But I'm just letting y'all know. So just, if you can like, share, and let people know, like, hey, I'm just letting y'all know. Like, I have people that have supported me, really, like, about 4 or 5 people that supported me and supported the channel, some for years. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not trying to put that burden on one person. That's why I come up with the product. That's why I came out with the Lost Tapes. I was like, people will like this. It's informative. It's on time. It's Brother Genie. And I don't think I put it like this. I didn't sell 10 units if we take individual sales, right? Like some people bought maybe 2 videos, some people bought the whole set, but combined, it wasn't 10 sales, I don't think. So I'm just saying, right? I don't think anyone else is breaking down geopolitics from a Black perspective other than brother, bro, you got ripped off. Help me out. You know, brothers I'm talking about. But I don't think he's on YouTube anymore. I think they took him off. I think they took him off after Jeannie was on his show, right? So I'm just saying, everybody can't do this. Most people don't know anything about geopolitics. Most people won't do the research, and most people don't look at things from a Black perspective. So I'm just telling y'all straight up, need y'all support in this time, especially for, I would say, the first half of the year of coming up into my birthday. So I'm really gonna weigh it in the balance on the next few months, because it's not even just, it is the support as far as like the monetary to fund the channel, but it's also if it's something that the people do not desire, or they don't feel value in it, or it's not attracting people, it's not capturing minds, or whatever the case may be, then what are we doing, right? Just being completely honest. So, you know, it would have helped having Sister Najee on to help, but you know, some things can't be helped, and I don't even know. Like, if y'all got any suggestions on who you think would be, if y'all know any sisters or whatever, shoot me an email. Again, my information is going across, or DM me on Instagram at dc.radical1, Twitter dc_radical_OND, OTW2 dcradical1, and you can shoot me an email. The email is straightblackpride_dc@protonmail.com. Also, if you want to buy either the Lost Tapes or the Khalid Muhammad Day series, shoot me an email at the same email address, straightblackpride_dc@protonmail.com. Also, if you can pay for that product by Zelle, or you can support by Zelle using that same email address. Or if you have a business or you have a service and you want your stuff on the show, or you want it supported via Instagram, because I do both. And of course, I have way more followers on Instagram. We got over 10,000, almost 11,000 now. We can do that. Right now, I'm really undercharging people for that. Just being completely honest, for 2 platforms. So anybody interested in that, email me that as well. Saturday, right now, I plan to come on at noon and do a show. We'll do a show with Captain Traore. We'll get deeper into the machinations and of all the stuff that is going on, because it's so much stuff going on. And sometimes I don't even like to say what I'm gonna do in advance, because literally a lot of times I wake up, look at my phone or go on my computer, and then something crazy is happening. Trump is doing something crazy, said something crazy, something is blowing up, something is on fire. Like, I mean, it's just so much stuff going on geopolitically and internationally. And basically, seemingly, they attempt to assassinate Captain Traore at least once a week. That's what it feels like. So, I mean, it's just so much stuff to cover. And I don't, as y'all can tell by me moving around times of shows and whatnot, yeah, stability ain't the thing right now. You know, Brother T West, thank you, brother. Yeah, Brother T West. That's the only other person I know. T West with Afro Synergy, and I don't think he's on YouTube anymore. Brother, is he on Rumble? You know where he is? Because I'm not even sure where he is. And so, yeah, so that's the situation. And y'all know me, I like being transparent. I don't, you know, I'm not fronting or whatever. But I'll just say this. For those who, because some of y'all have those lectures already, those lectures are, if you love Dr. Khaled and you love that spirit, that's for you, right? The Dr. Welsing ones, I have primarily shown that to sisters. Either Saturday or next week, I'll drop the promo for those, and then I'll work on the promo for the other ones, and everything will be available. And you take it from there, you know what I'm saying? Because I'll be honest, stuff is historic because I don't know. I have maybe a couple of more lectures left in me. I have to do one on this AI, this transhumanism, and all this stuff. Because at this point, this stuff is here. It's just not out in the open. Like I wanted to do it, but I didn't think people would be interested in it. But at this point, it's kind of like sometime this year I'm gonna do that lecture because people need to know, because it's here. You got self-driving cars running around, stopping on train tracks. You got the police using robot dogs. You got the police using drones. I just saw a Chinese robot doing kung fu, and I'm trying to figure out what in the world is going on. So, I mean, it's just crazy. You know, robots breakdancing it. Man, this sci-fi world that we grew up watching, and with the anime and Star Wars, Star Trek, and all this stuff, man, all that stuff is here now, man. All of that is here. And the people need to know, because just because you don't see it on your block today does not mean you will not see it on your block tomorrow. And brother, you got ripped off says he didn't get the support he wanted after being shadow banned on YouTube, so he only releases info on his Telegram page. His new YouTube channel has no lives, IG, Facebook, and Twitch. Okay. All right. So thank you for that. In fact, my bad. Let me put that up. So if you get a chance, go support the brother T West. He's really like kind of a pioneer of this type of information and format, news you can use to know what's going on in the world geopolitically. Brother Rocky says they're ushering in the end game, and folks are just going along like hell. Yeah, I think one of the things is people are overwhelmed and they don't know what to do. Another thing is I mean, a lot of people are cowards, and a lot of people don't have proper information, and so you see people just co-signing the wrong thing, right? I mean, we see the ICE thing, and I saw somebody today saying, why aren't our men I guess siding with the protesters on the ICE thing? And I was like, and then I saw another video where the sister was like, now that people are being deported and moved out, I can't remember what city it's from, she was saying that men are able to work now in like trucking and moving and construction and stuff, because now the jobs have opened up because the people are not there. So I'm like, you want to know why people are protesting? The black man is at the bottom of the pyramid economically, right? We have the same way that the United States economy is like what they call it, K-shaped, where you got a certain segment that's making heck of bread and everybody else is taking the L. That's how it is in the black community too, especially amongst black men. We got people who are billion, well, maybe not billionaires. Well, I guess we got a couple of billionaires, but we got people whose net worth is in the hundreds of millions. And then we got millions of people whose net worth is in the hundreds. You see what I'm saying? So the idea that black men should go out and fight for or fight against the government on this issue is crazy. We had times when we should have been fighting against the government, but sisters wouldn't support. Sisters haven't really supported like that strong, for real, because they were too busy supporting astroturf movements like Black Lives Matter. By the way, if you see, and I'm gonna say this real quick, if you see some light-skinned mulatto-looking dudes calling themselves the Black Panther Party, I just got a communique earlier from Black Panther Party for Self-Defense says that is not them, and they don't rock with the police like that. So they said that's not them. So that's AstroTurf. Like I showed y'all what AstroTurf movements were, and I exposed stuff similar to this 4 years ago, I guess now. So the same stuff is going on, and I just wanted to make people aware of that. Now, if you've been listening to me and watching the show for a long time, you're not surprised by that at all. You're already hip to it, but I just want to put people on game. So, I just put it like this: we just got to find a way to amplify the message and get it to our people. Because one thing I see, we definitely lining up on the wrong side of history, not looking out for our own interests, siding with enemies, and waiting to be destroyed. That's what's going on. So, man, it's just a lot happening. I'm going to read part of this article. This is from France 24. France and Germany on Wednesday said they will send troops to Greenland, along with other European countries, as U.S. President Donald Trump ramped up threats to conquer the Arctic island. The deployment of a 13-strong Bundeswehr reconnaissance team to the Greenlandic capital Nuuk from Thursday was at Denmark's invitation, the German ministry said. Now, I didn't know this. It says, according to Berlin, the mission aims to explore the framework conditions for possible military contributions to support Denmark and ensuring security in the region. France, the European Union's only nuclear power, also confirmed it would send troops to Greenland. Brothers and sisters, here's what's deep. France is the only nuclear power. France's nuclear power has been weakened by the AES because the AES has basically cut off their supply of uranium. Now do we see how interconnected the entire world is? I didn't know. I guess I never thought of it. Of course, they don't let Germany get weapons because, of course, the whole World War II thing and the World War I thing, which was blamed on them, which it wasn't really their fault, but whatever. So because of that, France is the only nuclear power, and their power is dependent upon them getting the continued resources from Niger and the AES. So our sovereignty changes the balance of power in the world. That's how important the sovereignty of the AES is, and I wasn't even thinking about it until I read this article. And brother, you got ripped off. Brother Jirake states there are 9 countries widely recognized as possessing nuclear weapons: the United States, Russia, United Kingdom, France, China, India, Pakistan, North Korea, and Israel. Thank you for that, brother. So, okay, it's later than I thought. So this just goes to show, man, that we can change the balance of power. We can really affect the world just by uniting amongst ourselves, as Captain Traore and General Assimi Goita, and I think it's General Chiani, have shown us that we can affect the balance of power in the world by simply uniting and being sovereign and taking care of our resources, and we can change the game, right? That's how important the AES is. So I'm gonna leave you all with that thought, brothers and sisters, because it's getting late, early. I will see you all on Saturday at noon. And next week I'll try to continue. I'll try to get back with an episode of, hold up. And Monday, we're going to have a special episode of The Center during the day. That's going to be noon as well. And we're going to talk about the life and legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King. And we're going to examine that and break that down. So, upcoming Saturday, upcoming Monday, SBL Talk just with myself, unless somebody special comes along next week. That's the schedule. Also look out for some more clips from Brother Genie's visit with Jake Shields as well. So be on the lookout for that. So again, brothers and sisters, don't forget the lost tapes are still available. The Dr. Collett lecture series is still available. The Dr. Welsing lecture series will be available next week. And then the entire DC Radical 1 catalog will eventually be available for purchase. Again, I thank you all for being here while we are in the midst of transitioning. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. You can follow me on Instagram at dc.radical1, on Twitter at dcradical_ONE, on OTW2, which is a Black-owned platform, at dcradical1. If you find value in the program and you want to support, you can do that via Cashapp at $DCRadical1 or Zelle at straightblackpride_DC at protonmail.com. And you can email me if you have some information you think I need, or you want some information from me, at straightblackpride_DC at protonmail.com. So with that, brothers and sisters, we're going to close out. And I say a BB for Odie and straight black pride.
Thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Also follow us on our other social media platforms. On Instagram, we're at dc.radical1. On Twitter, we're at dc_radical_ONE. And the Cash App is $DCRadical1. Again, thank you for subscribing. A big for ODA and straight black pride.